Good morning. This is Shanker. The topic which I've selected for this week is about crime. Now, crime today is in a lot of activities. Aajkal to most important thing is cyber crime. That is one part of the crime which is there. And cyber crime relates to electronics. Then we have crime which is done on paper. While you deceive persons, people have this habit of, writing wrong on the paper, getting it signed, taking money out, for defrauding the bank. In business also we are doing crime, which is more related with paper. Now that is second crime. Then the third crime is where we go and hit a person. Sometimes the person gets only angry but does not hit. Sometimes the person will go and do a murder. Sometimes the person will only go and do some boxing. And then it goes to the extent of, doing rape, dacoity, today's activities which is related to, the activities which are negative happening all around the world in terms of, in the name of religion, in the name of society, in the name of racism. So, it is mass crime which is there, it's a kind of a euphoria which is there. Now let us understand astrology is not it's not about Shani, Rahu, Mangal, Ketu, Mars, Venus. It's about that, but it is based on some very sound philosophy, and which is energy. As I say, the energy outside is also the energy inside. We are all around facing energy. Now people say, why do you go to a temple? Now, from a house, when you go to a temple, you feel better, you feel good. Why do you feel good? Because वहाँ की energy अच्छी है. As soon as you sit there, you feel good, you feel nice. So the whole concept of astrology is about energy. It is related to quantum physics, and it is a very important subject which is related to wellness. In fact, everything can be resolved by astrology by doing certain very small things, which if somebody has a session with me, a counseling session, or takes my advice, I do tell those small things. But this is just a tip. So coming back to my topic of crime. Now in crime, in astrology, those who know astrology and those who understand a little bit of astrology, and this video is for those, be very sure that statistically, today, all over the world, if you've seen, crime is usually done by people who are of afflicted Libra ascendant. Now, Libra ascendant is the ascendant which is ruled by Venus. It is also the ascendant which rules balance. When the imbalance is lost, a person goes ahead and does crime. The other signs which lead a person to do crime are the afflicted signs of Mercury, which is Gemini and Virgo, Scorpio, which is the negative sign of Mars, and to some extent I would say Pisces, in ways I will explain you. Now the important thing is that when we talk about crime, let us first understand crime as in paper. When you do it by paper, the crime which is done by paper, the planet which rules is Mercury. Mercury is intellect, is your mind, is your intelligence. So any crime which is done where you deceive person on a paper, you should have an afflicted Gemini, Mithun, and an effective Virgo, afflicted Kanya. Now, which are the planets which cause these afflictions? Let's understand that. The most important planets which are important for anybody to have a tendency of crime is Mars, which is your physical self. Now, if Mars is not very positive, if Mars is negative, if it is not strong, then you would indulge in criminal activities. The second most important is Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma, which makes you to do karma. Now, if that planet gets afflicted, let's say by Mars, the planet which makes you to do things, then you will do negative karma. So that is the second planet. The third important planet is Rahu. Rahu increases. If you are going to do, if you have a negative Mars and have a negative Rahu, your Mars and Rahu both are not good, then a person wants to commit crime, Rahu will say, और जोर से कर दो, मार डालो. You know, instead of saying boxing, it will say murder it. So, third important planet is Rahu. Mars, Saturn, Rahu. Then we come to Mercury. Mercury, I've already explained you, is a planet which is of intellect, and any crime which you do on paper is mainly related to Mercury. Any crime which is done in the banking sector, by business people, by deceiving people, by promising money, not giving money, by making false documents, is all by Mercury. So that is where it comes into play. The planet which does crime which is related to sex, that is Venus. Venus is the opposite sex. Now when this planet gets afflicted, then you try to obtain that object, Venus, by hook or crook. And that can be flirting to even raping. So that you have to see the affliction of Venus. Finally, we come to the planet Moon. Now, Moon, as per my own theory and as per my understanding, Moon is the planet जो आपका निचोड़ है. It is the karmic account of your last birth. Moon जो मन है, I mean your mind, the way you react, the way you act, what you want to do is all governed by Moon. Moon is basically your last life. आपके पिछले जिंदगी के जो भी आप कर्म कर रहे थे, whatever you were doing has come in this life. Now that is what is your tendencies to do things. If you had died with an impact saying that, oh, I loved my wife but she didn't love me and मेरे को इससे बदला लेना है, that was your conscious. So that consciousness comes into your moon. Moon has all the energy within itself. Now it is because of Moon you do everything. All your reactions are because of Moon. Now that is what you are born with. That is your prarabdha. Now how that changes is, again, I keep on telling you, there is this whole thing of how to make your moon better and how to make your other planets better, not by stones, not by things like too many yagnas or pujas or mantras, but by very small things. So Moon is the basic planet or the basic force which makes you the way you want to act, and it is Moon then which makes you to do things. Now there is a very close relationship between Moon and Mercury. Suppose you have a very bad Moon, the Moon is not good, and you have this tendency कि मेरे को गलत काम करना है, I want to be deceptive. A weak Moon will not have the power to say no. When you don't have the power to say no, when you are swayed by your senses, because Moon rules your senses. Moon is the planet which goes around a nakshatra. Moon is the planet which rules your Rashi. Moon is the planet which is fastest moving. It impacts all your planet. Now, when this Moon tells you to do something and it is related to your past, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm very clear about it, Moon is the nichod, has everything, has all the energy of your past birth. So when Moon tells you to do certain things, the planet which can only control it is Mercury. Mercury is intellect. Mercury आपका दिमाग है जो 2+2 बोलता है 4 करो, what you should do, what you should not do. So Mercury tries to analyze things. Now if your Mercury is very strong and is very positive, then what happens is that then it tells the Moon कि भाई तुम सोच रहे हो गलत काम करने के लिए, but it will have, इसका impact ही हो सकता है, आप जेल भी जा सकते हो. Do you want to go to jail? Then it could control your Moon. Mercury can control your Moon, and it will be in your mind to do. You may think, look at a girl and say, okay, I want to rape her, I want to get behind her, but the Mercury, the intellect will tell you, nahi, mat karo, aise mat karo. Don't do it. It's not right. You will be caught by the cops. You will be caught by the police. There will be a problem. Let's not do it. So, your Moon may just stop, or up under. It's more of a mind thought. You're thinking in your mind, but you do not act to that. So Mercury is a very important planet. If it is very strong as compared to a Moon, it controls a lot of your negative tendencies. Then those tendencies are, यार हम करना चाहते हैं और हम करते नहीं हैं. You want to do it. You have the desire to do it, but you don't do it. It's all in your mind. Mercury analyzes it and it finishes. So you have to see, first of all, any planet, any horoscope, you see Moon and Mercury, how they are. If your Moon is very weak and your Mercury is also very weak, then all the planets will have an impact. I mean, you have a mind, you have a sense which wants to, if it wants to rape, if it wants to do a wrong thing, it wants to murder, then Mercury will say, Kar do yaar. It will give you all its formulas for your mind to do it, and you will act. So you have to see these two things. If your Moon and Mercury both are very strong, and the other planets which I have told you, which incite you to do various activities which I've explained right in the right in the beginning of the video, then again, they're controlled. They're controlled. Mercury stops the Moon. If Moon and Mercury are very strong, both of them, the horoscope, you will not do wrong things. Everything may come at a particular time and pass off. If Moon is average, Mercury is above average, you have to see. If Moon is, both of them are average, then also, a person, maybe generally आजकल के जैसे लोग होते हैं, आजकल लोग कहते हैं, अरे ये गलत काम कर दिया तो क्या हो गया? That kind of thing would happen. So important is see Moon and Mercury first. Now, after you see Moon and Mercury first, I will briefly explain you what do the planets do. In the planetary system, Mars is the commander-in-chief and Sun is the king. Raja, the king, does not basically do anything. That is why in astrology, even in chess, in the game of chess, the queen is the most important. Similarly, in astrology also, Moon is most important. Sun is the king. Sun says, okay, I'm sitting at the back. I want to do these things. I want to see. I know everything. Sun, basically gives gives a thumbs up, enjoys. It is the enjoyer. It is basically your inner self, the soul which enjoys all the rasas of life, which is also, said in Bhagavad Gita that you have 7 rasas of life. You should enjoy all the rasas of life. There are various rasas of life which you enjoy. Now, whether you enjoy them positively, whether you enjoy them negatively, is what the planets tell you, and that is what is the role of Sun. Sun is a planet which is basically a planet also which wants to enjoy. A king wants to enjoy life. Sun, is a planet which, let me enjoy everything. So it enjoys everything positively or negatively. Sun is there. It is there. But the orders of Sun and Moon are executed by Mars. Mars is the commander-in-chief. So if Mars, this commander-in-chief, gets afflicted, it's negative, it is not very powerful, and it gets afflicted by Rahu, then this commander-in-chief will work negatively. And if the Moon says, yaar, chalo ye galat kaam kar dete, isko maar do, gussa aaya. Mars is temper. Mars is physical. It's negatively afflicted. If Mars is afflicted by Saturn and you have a weak Moon, then you can do a murder. You can do anything which is possible. Mars is afflicted with Rahu, is conjunct with Rahu at any place and aspected by Saturn. Again, criminality would come into place. If Venus is afflicted with Rahu and then also afflicted by Saturn, from aspected by Saturn, not with Saturn, even if it is aspected by Saturn, you will have things where you will do negative things in the way you enjoy life. It could be woman, it could be a garden, it could be, it could be on the ice. I mean, wherever you are, the way you enjoy life will be a little perverted if you have Venus with Rahu aspected by Saturn. So it is important, this is an easy way to explain how it does. Similarly, Mercury with Rahu is enough for you to do deceptive things, right from what Harshad Mehta did, or by other scamsters like Telgi, what they have done. I mean, you can forge, you can cheat. So Mercury with Rahu would make you do these kinds of things. The planets, therefore, you have to see the planets in totality, and you have to see the planet which is weak and it is afflicted by Rahu and Saturn and Mars. So this is how you have to see criminality in an overall way. A very important aspect here, which I want to tell you, is the signs which are very important are, as I've already told you, are the sixth house, sixth sign, that is the Virgo, the eighth, this is Scorpio, and 12th is Pisces. Even the houses, the sixth, eighth, and 12th house are the houses which lead to murderous tendencies or negative tendencies. Sixth house is the house of obstacles. A person who doesn't want to face an obstacle, wants to do a shortcut, will do negative things. Sixth house is of service. If a sixth house is afflicted, that person in service will do things which will not be appropriate. Suppose the company's code of ethics say that you do these things. If a sixth house is afflicted, that person will not do those things, but he will do shortcuts and negative things which will not be allowed in the day-to-day activity of that person. Eighth house is again a house of anxiety, danger, traveling overseas, running, cunningness, you being you looking things in a perverted way. Now the perversion can be at any place. So eighth house is again a house which is a little more dangerous house than the eighth house, sixth house. And then we come to the 12th house. 12th house is the house which can land you behind the bars, can isolate you. It is also the house of secrecy, CBI, CID, so many other things. So 12th house is also the house of doing things in a very secretive and a conniving way. Secrecy se karna, connive karke karna, and it can also be in extreme cases. 12th house has to be involved with 8th and 6th if you have to go behind the bars or you are imprisoned. So that is important. So these three houses you have to see, and the planets which are there in three houses. Now, what is it you say? Today you'll come with a question that there are so many people who are doing wrong things, but they are thriving in life. They are not caught. Nothing happens to them. करोड़ों में घूम रहे हैं, गलत काम भी कर रहे हैं, बच भी जाते हैं. Everything is good for them. Now, what is the reason for that? Now, here comes the role of Jupiter, Guru. Guru is a planet. Don't think that it is a planet which makes you, a guru in the real sense. But whenever Jupiter is there involved in a negative connotation, suppose you have Mangal, Rahu, Shani aspecting, or you have Venus, Mercury together, and then aspected by Saturn. Combinations which I've already explained, try to explain you, and these combinations would come if you have understood the planets which I have told you. So whenever Jupiter comes into play with this combination, तो Jupiter क्या करता है? वो ढांक देता है. It gives you a cover. It gives you a cover of that. Oh, this person is good. ये अच्छा काम कर रहा है. Society में he does not get exposed in the society. That is what is the role of Jupiter. That is what Jupiter does when Jupiter comes into play. That is why you have so many people who are doing wrong things, but then they are not caught, they are not exposed. You are knowing that they are doing wrong things, but they don't get exposed in society. And that is because of Jupiter. When it comes to mass things like jihad, killing, mass killing, etc., and there of course the national astrology also comes into play, then it is the masses, the planet Saturn plays a very, very important role. In fact, Saturn with Rahu, or then together they create and there is also an angle of Jupiter there also, because the person who is in doing anything which is like jihad or doing something like a nationalite movement which happened where a person is killing, doing things, but he feels that he is doing the right thing. He says, मैं तो ठीक कर रहा हूँ. What I am doing, if I am killing, I am doing the right thing. He is very convinced that he is right. Over there, in such cases, it is a mass energy which is there, which is created by Saturn and which is also created by Rahu, and it is these planets together. And there's somewhere connected with the fourth house. Fourth house is for masses or for the nation. They're connected with the fourth house. It leads to the entire public, entire society, or entire group of people who are convinced that if they are killing some other people, or they are doing something wrong, or they are, anything in the name of anything which I will not go into details, that, and they feel it is right, then these planets come into role, with again Jupiter being there, because Jupiter says, yaar tum theek soch rahe ho. There will be a role of Mercury also, because understand Jupiter and Mercury also. Mercury is like a mathematics. It is like 2 plus 2 4. It analyzes. Jupiter is wisdom. यार मैं ऐसे सोच रहा हूँ, ऐसे होना चाहिए. It should be like, I'm thinking that it should be like this, so it should be like this. It's something which comes out of a totality. It's an intuition which is there. Jupiter is wisdom, and Mercury is the basic intellect. So when we also see things which happen in a nation or with a mass of people, then it is Jupiter and Saturn which play a greater role than Mercury. Mercury only helps it. So in nutshell, what I want to say today is that look at Moon and Mercury first. Look at how Mars is in your horoscope. Look if Mars is afflicted by Rahu or Saturn. Look at the 6th, 8th and 12th houses, which are the planets there. Look at the negative houses, negative planets like Mars and Saturn. Are they negatively placed in your quadrants, in your kendras? If negative Mars, a Neech ka Baggal, and a Neech ka Shani is placed in your kendras, a person tends to become a cheat. He will be a cheat. Be careful. He may not get again caught because of reasons I've told you. He may have a strong sun, a king which is strong. He may have a strong moon. Past karmas were good. He will not get caught, but he will do things to achieve his objective by his negative ways. So criminality today, you have to understand in a very different perspective. You have to see moon very carefully, you have to see sun very carefully, and you have to see especially 3 planets, Saturn, Mars and Mercury, very carefully. Mercury is nothing but an agent. The Mercury is nothing but something like Rahu. Mercury gets all its work done through Rahu. The agent for Mercury is Rahu. Remember this. Rahu will work as Mercury tells it to work. Saturn also gets its work done through Rahu and Ketu. So therefore, Rahu and Ketu are the karmic planets. They are the planets which make you do. Rahu is an external planet जो कि आपको करवा देता है, and it is big, it thinks out of the box. Maya illusion का planet है. It is a very good friend of Venus. In fact, if Venus and Rahu are together, you will have money, you will have looks, you'll get love, I will discuss Venus in my video today, where I'll talk about Venus in details. You will get everything, because Rahu amplifies Venus. And then you have Ketu. Ketu is a planet which is in your, something which you have carried through your karmas. Ketu is a planet which doesn't have a head. It is symbolized that way, that doesn't have a head. So when it doesn't have a head, it thinks through its heart. अपने दिल से सोचता है. अब वो दिल आपके पिछले जन्मों के कर्मों से, उसमें what energy is there, वो एनर्जी के हिसाब से it will react. So Ketu can be positive, Ketu can be negative. It has to be analyzed very carefully. Similarly, Jupiter has to be seen. A debilitated Jupiter aspected by more debilitated planets, मतलब नीच का आपका गुरु हो और उसको नीच का मंगल देख लिया, then also a person will be a dangerous person. A person with no ethics. He may do things with ethics, because Jupiter आपको कुछ ना कुछ ethics दे देता है और एक कवर अप भी कर देता है सोसाइटी के लिए, for the society. So you have to see Jupiter that way. So you have to see in a kind of a matrix. On the one side are the houses, 6th, 8th and 12th. On the other side are the planets. Moon and Mercury are very important planet. Sun is the king, it is the enjoyer of the soul. And then you have to see in this respect, that is how a person's tendency will be towards criminality. Suppose Mercury is little afflicted. Mercury, assuming, is afflicted by Ketu, and Mercury is also afflicted by Saturn. Now, here a person will become a cyber security criminal. Because when Mercury is afflicted by Ketu, then, Mercury is a planet of mathematics, Ketu is a planet which thinks through its heart. तो दोनों में तो कोई कॉम्बिनेशन बनता नहीं है. Afflicted by Saturn, वो कहता कर दे गलत काम, जल्दी करो यार, कर्मा जल्दी करना हमें, let's do it, let me achieve it. Saturn is a planet of karma, and Saturn, of course, should not be very strong. Then a person will do things which are wrong in communication. Communication today is satellite, phone, social media, etc., which is there. Venus also is a part of social media, but in a different way. Social media like Instagram, YouTube, all this will come under the purview of Venus. It comes in the purview of Venus, and when we'll discuss Venus, I'll tell you. So you have to see a person's character, a person's tendency to do criminal activities by an horoscope, and this would be very, very good if it is applied in corporate, in recruitments. I'm sure about it. If it is made, and another way is AI, the rule of large numbers. You would see Mercury, not very good. People who do frauds in deeds, etc. You should be careful when you're keeping them in a company. So even in keeping people in companies, a very quick method of seeing whether a person is good generally for the company, and then of course you can go into a lot of details also, that what is the type of company and what is the type of planets, do they correlate to each other. That's a different aspect. Astrology can be used for that. Now, astrology again is nothing to do with planets. We say that it is like Jupiter, Venus and Saturn. What it says is, astrology says is that when we are changing soul, we are migrating souls, when we move from one place to the other place, the karmic planet, which is the Rahu and Ketu, are the most important karmic planets, and they are points of a configuration of planets. They make our kind of energy which is there. Now, when we say a planet के अंदर Jupiter बहुत strong है, ये नहीं कि Jupiter लाखों किलोमीटर, करोड़ों किलोमीटर दूर is afflicting you. It is Jupiter, the way Jupiter is there, the way Jupiter creates its energy, that energy has certain potency which is there in you. Suppose sun में जो light आती है, it is due to the bombardments of lot of neurons, electrons, and the way they interact with each other, and that is how sun is made. Today we are having this light which we are working under, or I'm doing the YouTube under. There are waves which is working. Everything is happening in a small way. So this is all energy. The sun makes energy in a particular way. That way, the way the energy is made in you depicts the sun. Interaction of all that energy which is there in your brain makes you to work. The way you work, the way you think, carves out your destiny. And then your astrology is never totally about prarabdha. It is a lot of free will is there. 30 to 40% free will is there, by which is governed by environment and a lot of other things. Now, I would say that anybody who has a moon which is not very strong should go to a hill station. A Mercury planet who doesn't have a good strong Mercury should walk on the green grass, should go and see the greenery at some points of time. There are a lot of other small things by which energy gets influxed into you, and that is what is wellness. We call it wellness, but wellness specific and allied to astrology will also be a very important thing in years and days to come. I'm sure about it. And also, I have written a book now which would be published, and that is about Rahu, the mystery of Rahu. Rahu basically is nothing but Yama. It is the planet of death. It is the planet of birth. It is the planet which governs when if you read this book, it will be published by Prabhat Publications. It tells you that when Rahu travels in each constellation and in each degree by hour, whether it will give you positive effect, negative effect, and what kind of impact it will have on an hourly basis, and in which direction. Try it out. Read this book. It's a book for people who understand astrology, who understand nakshatras, who understand more than nakshatras, because it talks about degrees, it talks about asterism, how it is divided into the death-like asterisms, asterisms which make you life, which are jeev, which are the karak of jeev, etc. And it gives you an idea of hourly predictions, trend, hourly, minute-wise also in astrology. And even the direction. So, but this is what I wanted to tell you about Rahu, because Rahu is very important, because they are the conflicting points, they are the configuration points of Sun and Moon. They are the nodes, the two nodes. And I've told you the importance of Moon. So, concluding, telling about somebody, you have to come and consult me, you have to talk to me. I can tell you what are your negatives, what is your nature, which is the way you can do, what criminal activities can happen to you, what are the criminal tendencies in you, whether you can do activities which are criminal and get away with it and rise in life, because there are people, all of us have Raj Yogas with negativities in it. So how you can control the Raj Yoga, enhance the Raj Yoga and also control the negativity. You will be a better person, a person who will do well in life. And it also gives you tendencies of things which can be easily controlled in average horoscopes. So it has a whole gamut, which can be only, I can only tell you if I see the horoscope in totality. I've tried to explain you the metrics between the planets, the houses, the conjunction of few of them, and how also you can land to jail. If 6th, 8th, 12th and other houses which I've explained, the end, what could it be, and how it can be controlled. The rest of it, nobody can predict anything by seeing one planet. It has to be seen. Horoscope, again I repeat, is 360 degrees. And every degree has a role to play in your life. So that's how astrology is all about. And with this, I end my video on crime. It's not crime. Crime is very wide today. Is on the negative tendencies to do crime in various areas of life. Your negativity. Some of them may manifest. Some of them may be in your mind. And some of them maybe they may not happen because you change energies, you change, certain things get changed, because that is what is important. And remember one thing is that today if you are earning 100 rupees and tomorrow you start earning 200 rupees, it does not mean that 200 rupees is earned by you. It could be कि आपके घर में एक कोई बच्चा पैदा हो गया, you have had a child, उसके भाग्य का 100 रुपया आ रहा आपके पास. So you have to see it in that way also. Everything, every aspect of astrology. And with this, I end my video. You have my website, shankerstudy.com, WhatsApp message 9818733,000. And I hope you would like this video and subscribe to my channel. I want to make it 1 lakh. So if you see this video and you're seeing it for the first time and you like it, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love that. I would thank you for that. And you can always get in touch with me through my website. Thanks for now. Thank you very much. With this, I end my video. Namaskar.